Hello and welcome to the channel. So this is my journey on losing weight. So I was originally best part of 20 stone, and then as per this picture I lost over 100 pounds. I've been as low as 139 pounds. I currently hover around 145 pounds, but as a lot of these things, it's been an up and down journey. It's not been a simple case of A to B, and yeah, I just wanted to go over that and share my experience. Obviously, mileage may vary depending on who you are and how you get on with these things. So, as mentioned, a consistent lifestyle, and this is because I consider the way that I eat a lifestyle change. I don't consider it a diet because it's how I'm going to live the rest of my life. Obviously, having a very supportive family, my wife has been on this journey with me and lost a lot of weight herself and seen a whole host of other benefits. And exercise, well, if nothing else, the exercise helps me with the mental side of things. Has it actually helped with the weight loss? I don't know for sure, maybe. But I think you can achieve a lot of the results without the exercise. But it really helps keep me motivated. So this was the difference I made in 1 year. So you've got 2014 Fat Me, as I've called it there, and 2015 Thinner Me. This was literally 2 Christmas parties with the same company a year apart. And yeah, on the one on the left, I believe I was 18 stone 11 when I first started. And then in the second picture, I was probably around 154, so 11 stone. So I'd lost a lot of weight in that year. And honestly, it was pretty effortless. So for me, it was finding low carb. So my wife and I did some research, and we'd tried things like Weight Watchers. We'd tried just going low calorie. We'd tried low fat. You name it, we'd pretty much tried it, and yet we were both very overweight. And then in 2015, we decided, after doing extensive research, to give low carb a go. So we jumped right in, and to show you how motivated we were, we jumped right in. I think it was 2 weeks before Christmas, despite knowing that we'd bought all sorts of garbage for each other for Christmas, and that stuff just got left and probably got chucked in the end, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending which way you look at it. But that's how determined we were to do it. And yeah, we were having sort of eggs and bacon, sometimes with onion and mushrooms and what have you for breakfast, and then having, say, like chicken thighs with a small salad or something for lunch. And dinners would vary. It would normally be meat and low carb veg, perhaps with some gravy. And for the whole year, that's pretty much all we ate. Getting to the end of that year, we did start looking into some of the books with a bit more diverse recipes. So things like Tim Noakes' Real Meal Revolution, which meant we introduced a few things like low carb lasagna, which is just beef mince with a cheese sauce on the top, basically, and various other meals like that, which possibly didn't help with weight loss. Certainly not for me. Cream makes me pile on the pounds, as does cheese, so dairy in general. But it did make it more sustainable in terms of having meat and 2 veg for dinner was getting pretty boring. But it worked for us, and we both lost a lot of weight. The other thing that I did in 2015 was I started running. And obviously with losing the weight, I made massive strides, as I've discussed in other videos. And yeah, I went from a 30-minute plus 5k runner down to a sub 25k runner, which is a time that a lot of people would love to achieve. And I was very lucky to achieve that in my first year of running. My wife made similar amazing strides. But as I say, the running, how much it helped with weight loss, I don't know. But it's certainly something that keeps me motivated to this day to keep on doing what I can to the best of my abilities. So 2015 to 2017, low carb, high fat, it worked really well for us. As I'd already said, we did start introducing things like cream and nuts and things like grenade bars, which are keto snack things. But nuts, I found I could eat a whole bag of them. And whilst I don't think our bodies are anywhere near as simple as calories in, calories out, there's definitely an element of you eat too much, your body's got to process it and do something with it. And I could eat a whole bag of nuts with so much energy in it that it just went straight on my tummy. And so the keto snacks have got sweeteners in them, whilst possibly better for you than sugar. I don't know. They're not great for weight loss, and they're certainly not great for keeping cravings at bay. And as a result, I know I fluctuated back up to at least just over 200 pounds, to say 14.5 stone, which was a bit gutting because I did stick to low carb in my head, but at the same time, looking back, I can see why it went wrong. So in 2019, while sticking with low carb, I tried fasting and intermittent fasting. And so for those that don't know, intermittent fasting is just restricting your eating to, say, an 8-hour window in a day, which is really not that restrictive as far as I'm concerned. If I can eat breakfast at 8 o'clock and dinner at 4 o'clock, then I don't really feel like I'm depriving myself. And this really helped me drop some weight. As I say, I did do some longer fasting as well, but I didn't find that sustainable, especially when I got over my running injuries and was picking the mileage back up. So the biggest thing I learned from that was really don't try the sort of processed keto snacks or the keto ice cream and things like that. They're not good for you, and sure, you could have them as a treat, but if you're anything like me, a treat becomes from something you have once a month, once a year, to once a week, to then suddenly you're having it every day. And so I'm very much all or nothing, and so for me, the stricter I am and the better I stick to it, the better. And so, however, over 2020, what with lockdowns and things, everything didn't go according to plan, and yet again I probably found myself back up at about 200 pounds. That's where my body likes to position itself for some reason. But I'd already come across the carnivore diet before, and I was still sceptical, but I thought, I've got nothing to lose, I'm going to try it. And lo and behold, I felt amazing just eating meat. No veg, literally just meat, salt and water. I mean, to start with, I did have some dairy on it. Like, I'd make a curry with a little bit of spice and, say, a bit of Greek yogurt as the sauce, but I wouldn't dream of doing that now. And yeah, the stricter I went with it, so the more I moved towards just beef and lamb with the occasional pork and chicken or something, and just with salt and water, getting rid of things like squash and the diet cokes that you can still have on keto, but you can't on carnivore, and that's probably part of why it works so well. I also found myself really motivated to start strength training, so I got some dumbbells, I've got some resistant bands, I've got a pull-up bar, and I believe it was the end of 2021 that for the first time in my life I actually did a pull-up. And I haven't got much beyond doing 7 in one go, but I do at least 10 a day every day now. And I think obviously building muscle helps with keeping your weight down, and with carnivore, again, the weight plummeted back down, my running picked up, and everything was great. But not perfect. And so, yeah, in 2022, up to already now, is when everything clicked together, a bit like the Megazord there. And I was doing carnivore with intermittent fasting, with strength training, with running. And on that, as I say, for the most part, as long as I stick to really clean carnivore for me, I can't even have things like the high percentage sausages. Even they're just go down too easy and my weight goes up. And I've tried adding in dairy and no, my weight goes up, or my gut can't digest it properly and I get awful side effects. So for me, I stick to meat, salt, water. Sometimes I have sparkling water, that's fine, and it's quite good to have like spring water with some electrolytes in it. I do supplement with electrolytes because we don't generally drink spring water and stuff, so you are going to be missing out on something that we might have had, evolutionary speaking, in the past. So, and then I try to stick to an 8-hour window. I say try, I rarely eat outside of an 8-hour window, and if I'm super motivated, I will often go too short a window and be like 4 hours, which I've heard on things like the Huberman podcast that can be too strict. It can have detrimental side effects elsewhere. So I do try and stick to having my first and last meal 6 hours apart. Quite often it will only be 2 meals a day, and that works really well for me as well. And I still do my strength training, and I still do my running, and I still struggle to maintain my weight sometimes. I'm doing carnivore, I'm doing intermittent fasting, I'm doing strength work, and I'm running. Well, this year I averaged 55 miles a week, something like that. I did 2,750 miles running this year, and yet I've still had to track my weight, and that's why I know I have to do strict carnivore, because those times I've gained weight, it's when I've been on holiday and I say I've had sausages or chorizo or cheese, cream, yogurt, those sorts of things, and my body just piles the weight on. So I've really got to stick to not having dairy, and that's my goal for next year, is to have no dairy all year, and to stick to my strength training, obviously, and everything. So yeah, to summarise, I lost my weight through going low carb, then going even lower carb and down to zero carb, and then by introducing fasting, and settled on intermittent fasting as being the solution that works for me with my running. And then I also do strength training, because building muscle is good for burning energy and keeping your weight down, and just generally great for your health. And I just love running, so I am still running, and that is pretty much how I lost all my weight. And as I say, I started off at about 260 odd plus pounds, and I've been as low as 139, and currently maintain and stay at around 145-ish. And yeah, I'm entering my 10th year of low carb. I don't know what the future will hold. I fully plan to expect to stay low carb, probably carnivore. I don't see why I would go off of it. I don't miss anything that I feel I would allow myself to eat if I opened up the sort of low carb window again. But intermittent fasting, again, I'll relax during things like holidays and whatever but generally speaking, I'll stick to my 6 to 8 hour window. And of course, I'm going to stick with my strength training and my running. And so yeah, that is my journey to losing over £100.